Hi, we're Shane and Carly, and this is our boat, TruNorth. Both being self-employed and overworked, we decided to ditch the 9-to-5 lifestyle in search for freedom and adventure. And boy, did we find it. We hope you'll join us on our journey of discovering our true north by subscribing to our channel.
So number one, plan your stops. Number two, trust your instinct. And number three, I would say prioritize safety over distance. These are all lessons that Old Man Ocean thought we needed to learn the hard way.
So tonight's definitely been our crappiest night on the boat. We were anchored out in a little side river cut. At the bottom was nothing but rock, so it took a while. Excuse me. It took a while to get the anchor to set, and then we had to get really close to shore because all the rain we've been having, the current's really strong. And closer to shore, I was hoping for more sediment to anchor into. And so it started with our Starlink dish blowing off our roof and going in the water. Fortunately, it was still attached to cables, so I pulled it out. And then while I was dealing with that, our anchor started dragging, and 15 to 20 mile an hour winds and current all pushing in the same direction. So then I decided, okay, we can't stay here because now that we've drug, we've got a tree right next to the boat that we're trying to swing into. So we went ahead and pulled up anchor, traveled another 35-40 minutes west further up the river to try to get into another little side cut to anchor and get out of the storm and out of the current. Traveling at night's a nightmare because boats don't have headlights. With all the storms, you don't know how much debris is in the water and you can't see it at night, so you're running the risk of damaging a prop or a rudder or something like that. So we made it all the way up to the other spot that we were going to anchor, and decided not to try to get into it. It's got some shallowing at the entrance, and it's only 200 feet wide, which sounds pretty wide, but in storms like this we have to put out like a 150, 160 foot of anchor chain, which then leaves us no room to swing around in the storm. So we stayed out in the main river off of the channel, dropped anchor. Fortunately it hooked pretty quickly. A gale came through and we were probably in 35-40 mile an hour winds for probably about 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Most terrifying 5 to 10 minutes of my life.
So I am absolutely soaked. The rain was blowing so hard sideways while I was trying to get the anchor all set up and secured, so I know we're good, that the rain was blowing sideways and went straight in my ears. So, yeah.
He's wanting me to hold the boat still, and I can't see. Like, there's no markers. Normally you just look out the side window and you pick a point and you stick with it, but I can't see the points. There was no points.
So right now it is 1:04 in the morning. We have not been asleep yet tonight. Storm seems to be calming down some, but the weather says it's going to continue till about 3 a.m. So we won't be sleeping till the storm passes. And then even at that point, I'm not real happy about where we're anchored. We're not real far off the channel, and we're in a shipping lane, so barges and everything go by here. They don't really travel in bad weather because they're so big they can get blown around by the wind and can't get control of it. So I think we're safe from that, but not enough reassurance, and I'm willing to go lay down and get a peaceful night rest.
But the good thing is we're in a river, well protected by mountains, so we don't have waves that are going along with that.
Yeah, the wind doesn't have enough water to travel across to create big waves, so it's just chop, which is a huge benefit. If we were in a lake or something right now, we would be dealing with this wind and rain and current and probably 3-foot waves. So, could be worse.
Could be worse. Could be better. But it could be worse. So, we'll be up for a couple of hours. That's fine.
At around 5:40, 5:48, something like that, the sun started to come up a little bit. Just got that little morning glow, so I can kind of see around. I told Carly, she was sleeping in the wheelhouse next to me, that hey, I'm gonna go downstairs and make some coffee and try to stay awake and get ready for the day. And when I walked out of our wheelhouse, normally I can see the dinghy sticking up off the swim platform. We have a crane to put it on the roof, but it's easier if we're going to be using it again quickly to just tie it up on the swim platform. So that's where it was at, and it wasn't there. I couldn't see it. So went on the back of the boat to see what was going on. Thought maybe it had just blown down, and when I got back there, I realized that the wind had got a hold of the dinghy and ripped the line that I had it tied onto the boat with, broke it completely, and the dinghy was gone.
So to truly understand my attachment to this dinghy, I really feel like you've got to know the story behind how we obtained this dinghy. So this dinghy came about well after we were into our journey. It was just, there was like a freedom to being able to anchor out but still get to shore. And I was craving that freedom. Yeah. I just knew we had to have a dinghy.
So we had looked at possibly get one before we left, decided maybe it wasn't a big deal, changed our mind along the way. So we were only at a marina that we were at when we decided to get it for a couple nights. Didn't have a vehicle or anything, and Uber's not going to let me shove a dinghy in the back of their SUV. It's not going to work out real well. So I had to find one that whoever was selling it was willing to bring it to us. And this is the one that worked out.
Yeah, we found her. We call her TruNorth Mini, and I mean, it was just the stars aligned, and she came home to us. So you've heard the old adage, like you get what you pay for. Yeah. We got what we paid for. So this baby was originally a training sailboat. So it came with not a motor, but with a sail and a set of paddles. But you know what? We did not care. We just couldn't care less. It looked like freedom and adventure to us, and so she quickly became part of our crew.
That closer, I'ma get closer to you. Yeah, got me, baby, got me hooked on you once again. Girl, I need you. How many times do I wanna yell? 'Cause we could be so complete. Baby, I'll never want anyone new. I was on the bed and you undressed. Baby, when I pulled you in and felt your breath, then I knew the girl I need you. Smiling like that, I could never resist it. Smiling like that, I could never resist it. Smiling like that, I could never resist it.
So here we are. TruNorth Mini is missing, and we simply cannot leave without her, or I could not leave without her.
Around 6:30 or so, when the sun started coming up and I could see a little more what was going on, I got binoculars out and started looking around to see if I could find the dinghy anywhere, and I found it about 600 feet downriver from us, in a little bit of a cut, and the rope had got tangled up in some tree limbs, so it was holding it there. And thought about it for a while. We talked about it. You know, you can't take your dinghy to go to shore to get your dinghy.
So I didn't want to jump in the water. It was too cold, and even I thought about putting on a wetsuit and braving the cold, but then the current's moving too fast, so I couldn't swim against it. So I decided that was going to put everybody in a dangerous situation. That wasn't going to work. So if it was up to me, I was going to leave it, but Carly was pretty adamant about wanting to keep it, and I kind of like her. So I decided to try to figure it out and see what we could do. So I looked at the chart plotter, and the river we're in drops off really quick. So like 8 feet from shore, it's already 13, 14 feet deep. So we got our headsets on so we could talk to each other, and I had Carly, I would back the boat up, turn it sideways from the river, back it up to shore, and then she would take over, and I would go down to the stern, and we would drift down the river. And once we got lined up with the dinghy, I would talk to her to tell her, move the boat forward, move it back, whatever the case was. And I started with a fishing pole with a big lure on it and a bunch of sinkers that I would put on it to give it some weight. And I was casting that over into the dinghy to try to hook it and pull it out of where it was at. And I would get maybe 2, sometimes 3 casts before we would pass it. We did that probably 8 or 9 times to no avail, no luck with it at all. So then I switched to a magnet fishing setup, thinking maybe the weight of the magnet would hang in there and I could pull it. Tried that a few times, that didn't work. Ultimately, we ended up, every time we would get set up and drift down, if we missed it and I couldn't pull it in, then we would have to pull back up the river, get twisted back sideways, back up to the shore, and drift back down to it. And none of the other things worked, so I told Carly, look, I'm gonna use our stern anchor. It's like 45 pounds. I gotta be as gentle as I can with it, but it's either going to knock a hole in the dinghy and we're gonna leave it here, or it's gonna work and we're gonna take the dinghy with us. So we got set up again, drifted down, waited to just the right time, swung the anchor over there as gently as I could, still ended up chipping one of the seats a little bit, but it hooked the dinghy, pulled it out of there, was able to pull the rope loose off the limb, had Carly pull the boat back forward out to the middle of the river, and then I had to climb down on the swim platform and get it tied up and pull it back in. So after somewhere around an hour of fighting with this thing, we got our beloved dinghy back and got her back on the boat and got her all tied up again.
So that's it. That's how we learned our lessons. Plan your stops, trust your instincts, and prioritize safety always. Just learn from our mistakes.